Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today we're going to be talking about a little bit of a sensitive topic, but it was brought to my attention by a friend. Post went out on January 24th, no, December 24th. This would be Christmas Eve. And the post would be by David Paul. And it says, I'm just going to put it out there because we have such fantastic friends and family, and our phones are nonstop. Yet, we had a fire. Connor and I came home to a smoldering fire and a house full of thick black smoke and soot. The dog tried to get a bag that was on top of a water pitcher, and in doing so, he turned the burner on. The water pitcher and the bag were not on the stove, but it appears he knocked it down onto the stove. We are okay. The kids are okay. The dogs are extremely dirty, scared, and appear to have no breathing issues. Next step is to deal with the insurance company, which I am certain will be pleasant. We are staying with Kathy and Les, as fortunately they have the room for us. If we don't respond right away, please know we appreciate you, and we appreciate those that have reached out already. Thank you, Aaron, Courtney, Kylie, Barbara, Jen, and Judy for stopping by and handling some immediate needs for us. We are grateful for the best neighbors. Tiverton Fire went above and beyond, as always, trying to make sure we were safe and the fire area no longer a threat. Edited the post because I decided to walk around in circles in the house, and holy shit, what a mess it is. One of the pictures is the inside of the refrigerator that took so much heat that it actually caught the egg cartons on fire. So the post included photos of some of the damage, and this is where it started striking some questions for me that I wanted to kind of bring up and see if anybody else had the same, I don't know, feeling or whatever that I might. So the post said that the dog knocked over something that was beside the stove. So I'm going to assume that would be right over there between the stove and the refrigerator that had a pile of stuff. The stuff that's knocked down, if you look on the floor, it's all paper. This is most definitely a gas stove. As you can see over my shoulder, the gas stove burners. So already, you're an ex-firefighter, and a mountain of paper beside the gas stove was a good idea. As you zoom up, you can look and see right about here. See that flat square? Now this is a screenshot that I'm trying to zoom up, so I'm not positive the clarity that I'm going to be able to get on it, but we're going to try anyways. So you can see there's two of them. So there's one right there where I had pointed, and then if you go a little bit further over, right here, there's another one. They are spatulas very similar to this one here, with the flat blade on it and a wooden handle. So were these spatulas on top of the mess of stuff, right? And zooming in, there's what looks to be some fruit or potatoes that are mixed in there, what looks to be tinfoil. So I'm not a physicist, but if, say for example, there was a clutter of tinfoil, fruit, and spatulas on top of a box or a container that got knocked over, I would think that the spatulas and fruit would fall first and fast, right? Like what falls faster, a brick or a feather? If I was to hold up a sheet of tinfoil and a spatula and drop them, which one's going to hit the ground first, right? And it's going to be the spatula. So you can see, though, the spatulas are on top. right? So that was already, I was like, huh, right? I was looking, I was like, right? And that sucks, right? Apparently that the shit fell over and there's now wood, right? And out of the whole stove, you don't see stuff flung over in this area, right? It's all just kind of cluttered on top of one burner there, as well as some on the floor, which is all paper, right? And I started kind of questioning it, right? And I was like, wow, right? That seems like a pretty silly mistake for a firefighter to make, right? And I didn't think about it kind of too much more. I had seen the tinfoil there, but then for some reason it radiated on me in that tinfoil, right? And normally we wouldn't think too much about it. We use tinfoil in our ovens and our stoves and all that stuff. You can see a close-up here that he had posted. Let me blow it up. And you'll see right above my head, there looks to be the tinfoil. Right there. Right? As well as some melted over here. So I decided to ask Google, is foil, like flammable? Is it known to cause a house fire or anything like that? And Kiora had the response: will aluminum will aluminum foil catch fire if it touches a stove burner? Oof, a little bit of a tongue twister. Aluminum foil can catch fire if it comes into direct contact with a stove burner, especially if the stove burner is very hot, or say left on unattended for an extended period of time. Particularly if it's crumbled or in thin layers. If the foil is placed directly on a burner and is heated, it can potentially spark or burn. It's always best to use aluminum foil safely and avoid direct contact with heating elements. So I was like, damn, right? Is that true? And I looked up a little bit more, and I was able to find a couple videos. Now you'll see the foil starts sparking up, right? And it's making the fire bigger and exaggerated. It's actually adding to the life of the fire, right? And I was like, no way, right? And come to find out that people had DIY videos on how to make thermite with aluminum foil, and that aluminum was the burning catalyst in sparklers and stuff like this. And we wouldn't normally think about that. We would normally overlook this, right? Tin foil on a stove. Yeah, that seems safe enough. Yeah, grandma used to line her burners all the time with tin foil, right? And it seems safe enough. House Digest also says that the foil over a burner can deflect the heat, say, towards a wooden counter that's right beside it, right? So it's flickering in my head, right? Dave is a guy that, he says that he can't work anymore. He's disabled, but yet he's got the eBay business. Yet he's building dog parks, right? He can't work anymore, but yet the guy makes more money than half the guys I know that can legally work, right? The eBay business in itself having numerous accounts spread out so that he can evade being taxed by taking in more than a certain amount of threshold of money on one eBay account, right? The list kind of goes on, selling out Tiverton and overdeveloping. Can I doubt the idea that he used his knowledge as a firefighter, being a professional in the realms of fire, to potentially set this up? That's a heavy accusation, right? It is. But keep in mind, it's not the first time that their house has been, remodeled. The average guy isn't going around with the same accusations on his back that Dave is, right? The average guy, works hard for his money, pays his taxes, tries to live. Where Dave's life is a little bit different, right? You're going to see, I have his LinkedIn over here, and You know, the fire department, it should be listed right there. And it says 2006 to present, and the CPR training, 2000 to present. So he's been doing the CPR training longer than he was a firefighter, but he's retired from the firefighting now because he can't work because he's got a bad back. But that bad back can lean over a dummy and do CPR humps. Currently still, I don't know, right? The guy seems a little shady, a little wonky. And it's not the first time that his house has been remodeled due to some kind of disaster, right? His house, when they first bought it, that house got remodeled because it was flooded. But yet they fall in less than 1% chance of their house being flooded in the area that they're in. Right? Now, how great would it be for everybody to be able to make money without having to, you know, pay taxes for it on eBay and take a pension from the fire department, and you don't got to work there anymore. Now you got time to be town council and build dog parks and all that other shit. And you get your house, you know, you buy your house old and for cheap and get it remodeled, bang, off rip before you even move in. And then 10 years later, right, whatever it's been, maybe 15 years later, you get it remodeled again for free, right? The mortgage is paid off, right? How fucking great. I wish, how great. Why aren't the rest of us retired at 38 with such a blessed life? Right? And what better time to do this than on Christmas Eve, when people will be stricken with, you know, heartbroken guilt, instead of looking at, you know, everybody's going to be feeling bad for you, giving you the sympathy card because your house burnt on Christmas Eve, instead of looking at the hardcore facts, right? As well as, you know, your boys with the fire department and the cops and all that shit. So I'm sure, right, as well as town councilman. So I'm sure when that fire inspector showed up, you know, you told him your story that you have discovered with the dog, you know, that maybe you saw the evidence and learned the story. Maybe you knew the story before it even happened, right? And you fed him your story and he was like, yep, that's definitely what happened. Let me write that down here. Yep, no problem. It's not me paying for it. It's the insurance company. Fuck them. Ha 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 ha. Right? And sounds like it kind of makes sense to me, man. It's a little bit of a fucking possibility. Just saying. He seems to know exactly what happened, right? And the dog jumped up and knocked over a box that was there, and the dog turned the burner on. And I'm sure when he told this to the fire inspector, they were like, oh, yep, that sounds about right, Dave, right, buddy, Mr. Town Councilman, right, yep, whatever you say goes, friend, right, brother, and shit like this, right? And they probably gave him very little resistance, right? And whatever kind of bullshit you say goes right now, and sure, we'll take it. But the big part of all this is that if I was to turn on a gas stove, you don't just turn it and it ignites. You got to turn it all the way to the high position, and then it click, 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 turns on, and then you turn it down to where you want it. You also got to push that knob in, because it's got child safety protections on it, right? And it's been like that for years. And if you look, that stove, I helped them bring it to that house about 15 years ago, right? A little after it was remodeled the first time. So it's not that old. It definitely has a child safety. So you're telling me that the dog not only pushed that knob in, but turned it, which if the knob was facing up and a dog paw fell on it, it would theoretically push it then straight down as the dog's paw fell with gravity, and would push the knob from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. But it's going to need now a second turn or an upward motion to turn that knob from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. You follow? And the dog pulled that off? That's a coincidence and a half. And it's a coincidence and a half that a fire inspector would allow such papery and flammable products to be right there beside his stove, and so much of it. I mean, there's shit all over the ground. Let's go back to it real quick. Right? That's a good amount of paper and stuff. You're telling me that all that was piled up beside the stove there, where the dog was going up to try to rummage to get a cookie or whatever he supposedly was trying to do, and it made this much, right? All that paper, and yet you're a firefighter. To me, that's like a plumber calling the insurance company and saying that, oh, you guys got to pay for my house. We had some plumbing issues over here. Right? And the guy's got like a 5-star review on Google. He's the best plumber in town. Everybody knows him. He's a household name. He's maybe even in the town council. See what I'm saying? And you'd be like, yeah, this is kind of suspicious, right? You would think that a plumber would catch whatever flaw or whatever it might be. A plumber wouldn't have such an oversight when it comes to his expertise, his profession. You would think that maybe there's a little bit of, what do they call it? Malplay or whatever, with a plumber having a flooded house, right? When it comes to trying to claim an insurance claim on it. Just saying. So, did he know? He's saying that the dog, right? It sounds like he knows everything that happened. Maybe he even knew before it happened. You see what I'm saying? And of course, there's a non-taxable donation page going up, as if the insurance company isn't paying for all of this, and they're not staying at my mom's $1 million house right now.
You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy.
And that's it for my update right now on our favorite town sellout, Dave Paul. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.